The Tinderbox. Once a soldier came marching along the road. He had a canvas bag and a sword. On his way, he met a witch. Who offered him money in return for a favor. The witch said, "You have to climb down into that large tree with the big hollow trunk. You will find 3 doors inside. In the big door, you will find a dog with big eyes. He will be sitting on a large chest. You have to put the dog on my apron. On opening the chest, you will find many a copper pence, and yes, you can have as many as you like. If you want to have silver, you will have to go in the second door. There, once again, you will find a dog with big eyes. If you want gold, then you will have to go in the third door, where again you will find a dog with big eyes." The soldier agreed and asked, "But what do I have to do? I mean, what do I have to bring for you?" She gave him her apron and replied, "You have to bring me the old tinderbox. That's all." So, the soldier climbed down and opened all the doors one by one. He placed the dogs on the apron and pocketed copper, silver, and gold coins. Indeed, he filled his pockets, boots, and even cap with the coins. Then he took the tinderbox and climbed out onto the road. The soldier asked, "What are you going to do with the tinderbox?" The witch did not respond. The soldier said, "If you don't answer my question, I will cut off your head." The frightened witch ran away and the soldier wrapped all the coins in the apron. He put the tinderbox in his pocket and walked off to the nearest town. He stayed at the best inn of that town. He made many friends, and they told him about the wonderful princess of the country. The soldier asked, "Where can I see the princess?" They replied, "Oh, you can never see her. She lives in a palace which is surrounded by towers on all sides. Only the king can go there, as he fears that his daughter will marry a common soldier." The soldier said, "I want to see her." By now, he had spent all his money. One evening, he took out the tinderbox and struck a few sparks. Suddenly, the box opened and a dog with big eyes stood before him. The dog asked, "What is your order, sir?" Now the soldier understood that if he struck the flint once, the dog from the copper chest would come to him. If he struck the flint twice, then the dog from the silver chest would come, and if he struck it thrice, the dog from the golden chest would come to him. they would bring him anything he ordered for. So he ordered, "Bring me some money." Lo and behold, his pockets were full of coins again. One night, the soldier desired to see the princess. He struck the flint, and a dog with big eyes stood before him. The soldier ordered, "I want to see the princess." The dog disappeared and returned immediately with the princess. She was so lovely that the prince kissed her. Then the dog took her back to the palace. In the morning, the princess told her parents about a strange dream she had had the previous night. She told them about the dog and the soldier. They were very upset. So the very next day, an old lady was appointed to take care of the princess. Meanwhile, the soldier again wished to see the princess. He sent the dog to bring her to him. The old lady ran behind the dog and she marked a cross on the door where the princess was taken to. Then she came back and went to sleep. The dog returned the princess to the palace and saw the cross on the door. It made crosses on every door of the town so that they would all look the same. Next morning, everybody in the palace went to find the soldier's house, but they were confused to see all the doors with crosses in them. Now, the queen was a clever woman. She tied a bag filled with wheat grains around the princess's neck. Then she cut out a corner so that the grains might fall on the way. At night, the dog came again and carried the princess on his back. He took her to the soldier, who now wished to marry her. The dog did not see the grains on the way, as it returned the princess to the palace. Next morning, the soldier was caught and put in prison. He was to be hanged. The soldier was upset, as he had left the tinderbox behind. Suddenly, he saw a shoemaker walking by his prison window. The soldier said, "Shoemaker, would you like to make money? All you have to do is bring me my tinderbox. I will make you rich." Quickly, the shoemaker ran to the soldier's house to get the tinderbox. There were many soldiers outside the prison. The king and the queen sat on their thrones. The soldier was asked his last wish, just before he was to be hanged. He desired to smoke a pipe. The king agreed to his harmless wish. The soldier took out his tinderbox from his pocket and struck it thrice. The 3 dogs appeared before him. The soldier ordered them to save him, and so the dogs frightened all who were there. The king and the queen were scared too. So they agreed to marry their daughter, the soldier. The dogs were present at the wedding. The soldier and the princess lived happily ever after, for the princess too fell in love with the soldier. Rookie of the Clump. Once upon a time, a queen gave birth to a son. He was very ugly. The queen was saddened by his ugliness. But a kind fairy promised her that her son would be very clever. He would also be able to gift his wisdom to the person he truly loved. Now, this little prince had a clump of hair on his forehead, so he was known as Rookie of the Clump. Ricky grew up to be a fine young lad, and everyone could see that the fairy had been right about the boy's intelligence. When the prince spoke, he charmed everyone. He surprised them with his wit and intelligence. 7 years later, a neighboring queen gave birth to twin daughters. The first one was very beautiful. She was, however, declared stupid and foolish by the fairy. The queen became sad on hearing this. The second princess was born very ugly. The fairy told the queen, "Do not be sad. Your second daughter will be very clever. No one will notice her ugliness." The queen thanked the fairy. She asked her if there was any way by which her beautiful daughter could also become wise. The fairy just sighed. There was nothing she could do. She told the queen that her beautiful daughter would be able to give the gift of beauty to the person who pleased her most. The two princesses grew up. The beautiful princess surprised everyone with her beauty. The ugly one was so clever that she surprised everyone with her intelligence. Just as the fairy had said, the beautiful princess was stupid. She barely spoke anything sensible. The ugly princess grew uglier day by day. But she gathered many admirers because of her intelligence and charm. At the same time, the beautiful princess was very sad. Nobody wanted to talk to her. She wanted to give up all her beauty. She desired to have even half of her sister's intelligence. One day, sad and lonely, she went to the forest to think about her bad fortune. At that moment, there stood before her a very ugly but well-dressed man. He was Ricky of the Clump. Ricky had heard of the princess's beauty. He had left his kingdom to look for her. He asked, "Why are you sad?" The princess replied, "I am sad because I am very stupid." Ricky replied that he could help her. He said, "I have the power to give good sense and intelligence to the person I love. I shall give you these qualities, but you have to promise to marry me after 1 year." The princess wanted very much to be intelligent, so she promised him that she would marry him after a year. The princess felt a great change come over her. She did not find any difficulty in talking sense. Now she was able to speak clever words. She found that she could now talk easily. She was able to discuss any subject that she liked. People in the palace saw the change in her. They were happy to see her so wise, intelligent, and clever. The king, her father, also called her to important meetings in the palace. He also took her advice. Now that the princess was intelligent, clever, and so very beautiful, she received many offers of marriage. There was one handsome and powerful prince she liked. Her father told her that she could choose him as a husband. The princess once again decided to take a walk in the forest. to think about her future. While the princess was walking in the forest and thinking deeply, she saw several men preparing for a huge feast. There was a long table laid out. Everyone was busy. They were preparing a large number of dishes. She asked them what they were doing. One of them replied, "We are preparing a wedding feast. It is the wedding of Ricky of the club. He is getting married tomorrow." In a flash, the princess remembered her promise, and the very next moment, what did she see? Ricky standing before her. He had a happy glow on his ugly face. He thanked her for keeping her promise. He told her about the wedding arrangements. He told her that he had made these arrangements for their wedding. The princess was very confused and did not know what to say. She stammered and said that she was not at all sure that she wanted to get married to him. Ricky understood her. He explained to her that she could grant beauty to the person she loved. He also explained that she could do it in the same way that he had given her intelligence, because he loved her. When the princess thought about Ricky, she realized that she loved Ricky because of his good qualities. She was only doubtful about getting married to him because he was so ugly. Then the princess looked deep into Ricky's eyes. She said, "I wish for you to become the most handsome prince in the whole world." As soon as the princess made her wish, Ricky changed. He appeared before her handsome and graceful. The princess smiled. She was happy now. They got married the very next day and lived happily ever after.
Cinderella. Once upon a time, a rich man's wife died. So he decided to marry again, so that his lonely daughter would have a mother to care for her. But the woman he chose to marry was a proud and selfish woman with 2 daughters just like herself. She did not show her true character until after the wedding. She ordered her daughter to work in the kitchen while she and her daughters enjoyed themselves. When the child had done her work, she used to sit in the chimney corner among the cinders or the ash. So everyone called her Cinderella. Her clothes were dirty and torn, yet she was far prettier than her sisters. One day the king invited them for a party. The sisters were very happy. They kept on talking what they would wear and ordered beautiful gowns. Cinderella also wanted to go, but her sisters teased her and said, "Would you not like to dress up in fine clothes and ride in a carriage, dance with a rich young man, or maybe even with the prince himself?" It was known that the prince was in search of a wife, and Cinderella's stepmother had high hopes for her daughters. Soon the great day arrived. Cinderella was busy all day, dressing her sisters and combing their hair, and when the beautiful carriage arrived to take them to the ball, she arranged their dress so that they would not get shapeless on the way. When the sisters had left, Cinderella began to cry. Suddenly, her fairy grandmother appeared and said, "Why are you crying, my dear?" "I wish I could go to the party," cried Cinderella. Her fairy grandmother told her that she would go. She told Cinderella to get her a pumpkin. Cinderella was puzzled, but she quickly brought the largest pumpkin that she could find. Her fairy grandmother waved her magic wand and turned the pumpkin into a beautiful golden carriage. Cinderella was then sent to find 6 mice, a rat, and 6 lizards. The fairy grandmother turned the 6 mice into smart grey horses, the rat into a handsome coachman, and the 6 lizards into smart footmen. Then she waved her magic wand over Cinderella, and soon her dirty dress became the most beautiful dress ever seen. Cinderella also saw that her feet were a beautiful pair of golden slippers. The fairy grandmother now told Cinderella to go immediately and leave the palace before the clock struck 12, as the magic would end at midnight. When Cinderella appeared in the dance room, everyone became silent, and the music and dancing stopped. She was the most beautiful young woman in that room. The young prince took her hand and led her to the dance floor. He danced with no one else but her the whole evening. When they sat down for their dinner, the prince could hardly eat anything as he was so busy looking at her. The dance went on. Cinderella was very happy. She danced every dance and did not at all feel tired. Then she heard a clock striking the hour. She thought it must be midnight. She became afraid and ran away from the dance room. The prince tried to catch up with Cinderella. As she ran towards the golden carriage in her hurry, she lost one of her lovely golden slippers. As the prince bent down to pick up the golden slipper, the clock struck 12. When the prince stood up, he saw that his beautiful dance partner, her fine coach, and the horses were missing. Now the prince was in no mood to celebrate, and all the guests were told to leave. The prince took the golden slippers to the king and told him that he wanted to find the beautiful maiden whose foot the slipper fitted. When he found her, he will marry her. The prince now went to every house in the entire kingdom to look for Cinderella. Cinderella's stepmother grew very excited when the prince arrived at their house. She was shown the golden slipper. She told her daughters to try to put on the slipper. But they could not do so as they had big clumsy feet, and the golden slipper was tiny and delicate. The prince asked her if there was any other young woman in that house. The stepmother replied that only Cinderella was there, and she worked in the kitchen and did not go to the party. The prince ordered the stepmother to bring Cinderella there. When Cinderella put on the slipper, it fit her pretty foot. The prince had now found the girl he wanted to marry. He took Cinderella along with him to his palace and married her there. Thus they lived happily ever after.